Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. Welcome to Weather Impact Live. Today, it's all about the heat. We have weather impact alerts in effect for the next 3 days. Today's weather impact alert is for the dangerous heat that's out there. And then tomorrow and Monday, it's actually for rain. So we have a lot to jump into on this Saturday. Let's start with our current heat advisory that's been issued by the National Weather Service. Now, I'm noticing parts of Ware and Pierce counties that are not highlighted here, but I do want you all to know that you also are experiencing that dangerous heat. So when the National Weather Service issues a heat advisory, they say, oh, it feels like temperatures up to around 110. You get the hot temperatures with the high humidity, and that can cause heat illness. But no matter where you are really right now across the entire Southeast, if you are outside for extended periods of time, you're not cooling yourself down, you're not hydrating, you could experience heat illness, which would be that heat stroke if it's very serious. It's when 911 has to be called, or heat exhaustion. And coming up here later in the stream, we're actually going to break down the difference between those two and the signs of both of them. But that is something to absolutely watch out for later on today. So highs will be around 98 degrees today. So highs in the upper 90s, but when you add in that humidity, that means that we will have feels like temperatures up to around 112 degrees. So that is why we have the weather impact alert in effect until 7 p.m. today for the dangerous heat that we will be experiencing all across the First Coast. Now today is Duval Day, so temperatures, again, hot. So starting off in the 90s, falling down into the 80s, but still feeling like the 90s in the evening. I think it wraps up at 8 p.m. And notice that the models there are trying to pop some rain. So yes, we could see rain today, but our overall rain chances are lower. So not a lot of us will experience that relief from rain. We could get a shower or two along the coast earlier in the afternoon, 2 to 3 o'clock, but more of that rain will really bubble up late afternoon and into the early evening hours. And so again, today's rain, lower end chance of that rain, it increases more tomorrow. So if you're heading out to the beach today, we have a UV index of 10. That's very high. We have storms later in the day. You see that 30% chance there for along the beaches. So again, afternoon and evening hours. Temperatures near 94 degrees, feeling more like 105 plus degrees. Then on Sunday, we'll have more rain around. So if you are heading to the beach on Sunday, you need to be prepared to move into shelter. Really start being prepared by noon. I think 1 o'clock we'll start to see more of those showers and thunderstorms pop up. So we will have the storms and a weather impact alert because of the rain tomorrow from 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. Now, not everyone sees rain all at once. So as we enter those afternoon hours, it gets very hot again. Highs in the middle 90s, feeling more like around 108 degrees. So here's a look at those rain chances for Sunday. Notice, as mentioned, 1 o'clock, that's when we start to see more of that activity pop up, and it's trying to favor the coast there. So be careful if you're out on the boat or out at the beach there. And then later in the afternoon and into the evening, we will see more of those showers and thunderstorms bubble up. Now, with the thunderstorms that bubble up even today, but then especially Sunday and Monday, these storms could become strong to severe quickly. There's a lot of heat out there, which is fuel for storms. And that means that these thunderstorms can really rapidly strengthen and become severe. So please, if you hear thunder today, tomorrow, Monday, move inside quickly. Always do that. Lightning is always dangerous and potentially deadly, but we're also worried about the possibility of damaging wind gusts within these storms. The blinding rain, maybe a little bit of hail too. So we'll keep an eye on that. Now notice Sunday, the weather impact alert goes until 7 o'clock. Then a lot of that activity diminishes. But into Monday, more rain on the way. And Monday, I have the weather impact alert in effect all day because we could have some of us impacted on our morning commute. Look at that big storm complex that is quickly moving from west to east Monday morning, 8:30 a.m. And again, the timing subject to change on that. So earlier this morning, this model was showing the stronger thunderstorm activity, the heavy rain, the gusty winds in Jacksonville by around 8:30. Now it's showing 9:30, but again, that can continue to fluctuate as we head towards Monday. The moral of the story here is that rain and storms could be around in the morning, Again, in the afternoon, your lunch hour could be impacted, and then maybe a little bit more later on in the day on Monday in the afternoon and evening hours. So again, we do have that weather impact alert in effect both Sunday and Monday. Sunday it's 1 to 7 o'clock. Monday I have it for the entire day because of that complex that will likely be coming out of the west and moving across the first coast in the morning. It's possible. So we're going to keep that a close eye on that for the Monday morning commute. So with all of those numerous showers and storms and the gusty winds and the lightning, we do have the weather impact alerts in effect. So make sure to go slow on the roads and please stay weather aware. Please keep shelter nearby. If you are outside on your Sunday, have that shelter nearby. Now with more rain and more cloud cover, and what we're watching is a weak cool front drifting south towards us, that's going to drop our temperatures. So today we have that intense heat, 110 to 112. Sunday we could perhaps get back up to right around 108 degrees for a feels like temperature. But then Monday, I think we're going to be right around 100 for a feels like temperature, which is still hot, definitely. But it's not that dangerous heat that we are experiencing today and we have experienced over the past couple of days. And we'll hover right around 100 degrees for our feels like temperature on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. So when it comes to our high temperatures, they're going to be dropping down as well. Let's show you this 7-day forecast here. Notice that they drop down into the low 90s on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then those temperatures start to climb again on Thursday and Friday back into the middle 90s. As for your rain chances, again, today, some of those showers and storms late in the day, and then more numerous showers and storms Sunday and Monday. Still a good bit of rain popping up around the area on Tuesday, and then it looks like it's going to be a bit drier Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and that's what's also going to help allow that heat to build once again. Now, we are looking out for that rain. We need the rain. Here's like at our drought monitor, and still portions of Northeast Florida are under extreme drought or severe drought. And then a lot of Southeast Georgia under a moderate drought. So we still are dealing with these drought-like conditions. Now, we don't want the rain from a tropical system. And when we take a look at our tropics in the Atlantic basin, no tropical formation is expected in the next 7 days. It is calm out there for the next little bit. And in fact, we actually got an update from Colorado State University on Wednesday with an update to their forecast for the season. So originally, in April, they were calling for 13 named storms, 6 of those to be hurricanes, and 2 of those to be major hurricanes, Cat 3, 4, or 5. Now they are saying, you know what? We think it's going to be even quieter. So we're saying there will be 9 total named storms. 4 of those will be hurricanes, and 1 of those would be a major hurricane. So that is below average for the season. So usually our 30-year average is 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 of those being major hurricanes. And so Colorado State University's forecast, and there's a bunch of really smart tropical meteorologists out of there. They're brilliant meteorologists. They've really lowered it. NOAA also put out a forecast this year. They called for 8 to 14 named storms, so near to below average, 3 to 6 hurricanes, and 1 to 3 major hurricanes. Now, they put out an updated forecast early August, right before we really start to enter the peak of hurricane season. So we'll hear an update from them in early August as well. But as you can see, the trends here is showing you that they're saying likely less active season. That is what everyone is forecasting. So here are your names, and we've already had Arthur, so we've only had 1 named storm. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So maybe Isaias, that would be 9 named storms. So that's where the Colorado State University is saying we might end. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that. But again, tropics are quiet. What is heating up is our atmosphere, our air. It is hot out there. I'm going to quickly show you the temperatures for concrete and asphalt. Remember this when you are walking your dogs. So we're going to come up here in a minute. We're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about a couple of different things. First, we're going to talk about heat safety, which I told you we would mention, the difference between heat exhaustion and heat stroke. And then we're going to talk about the dog days of summer. That's why I showed you that. What are the dog days of summer? We'll then take a look at boating forecast with the Freedom Boat Club. And then finally, we will end it with an update from Robert Speta on hurricane hunters and what they are all about. So again, right now, we are all about the heat today. Dangerous temperatures, feels like temperatures up to 112 degrees. And then Sunday and Monday, it's all about the rain and the storms. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
That is the Protector.
This truck is a beast.
It's got all the tools on it. I love how big the tires are.
And this is going to be able to show you the weather around the First Coast like you've never seen it before.
The Protector really is going to help protect the community.
So you can see what it looks like on the ground. And that allows folks to really take action and do something about it.
And it gives us that edge in continuing to be the most accurate weather team.
Sponsored by HananiahAutos.com.
I'm Keitha Nelson. Good morning, Jacksonville anchor and mom of twins, Journey and Trey. I'm on your side, getting you out the door and off to a great start. Make the move to Good Morning Jacksonville on First Coast News. Weekdays from 4:30 to 9, anywhere you watch.
First Coast Living Live.
Bringing you closer to the tastiest food.
The best shopping.
And family fun.
Woo!
Jordan Wilkerson and David Benfield. First Coast Living Live. Weekdays at 11 a.m. only on NBC 12.
We have new details about a heavy police presence in Jacksonville Beach.
Driver fired gunshots along the interstate today, prompting a police chase.
Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
The First Coast News weather team is here to deliver your most accurate forecast with weather impact alerts to warn you about severe weather and up-to-the-minute information on First Coast News Plus.
The wave of moisture rolls its way on in here.
Our team is the most equipped and experienced to help you prepare and keep you safe.
The First Coast News weather team is always on your side. Stream extended coverage on First Coast News Plus.
My mission is to help you get to where you're going safely. Whether it's helping you beat the backup on 95 or navigating the slowdown on JTB, we've got you covered. Make the move to Good Morning Jacksonville on First Coast News. Weekdays live from 4:30 to 9, anywhere you watch.
Ooh, it is hot out there now, so it's time to remind ourselves of heat safety. First and foremost, when it's this hot outside, wear loose-fitting clothing. That way the air can circulate around your body and help try to keep you cool. Also, take frequent breaks from the heat. Go into the AC. If you don't have AC options, go into the shade. And also make sure to drink lots of water, even when you're not thirsty. Being thirsty is the first sign of dehydration. So if you're not thirsty, that's great. You got to keep drinking water so you don't accidentally dehydrate yourself. Try to stay away from alcohol. Try to stay away from caffeine. Water, water, water. Also, make sure that you're checking on at-risk people. Everyone is at risk of heat illness, but there are groups and populations that are more vulnerable to the heat. That would include pregnant women, newborns, children, that even includes teenagers as well, older people, and those with chronic illness. And finally, look out for the signs of heat stroke and heat exhaustion, but you're going to treat heat exhaustion differently from heat stroke. Heat stroke is more dangerous. That's when you have to call 911. So let's go over the signs of heat illness, heat exhaustion versus heat stroke. So with heat exhaustion, you'll be faint or dizzy. With heat stroke, you'll have a throbbing headache. With heat exhaustion, you'll have excessive sweating. With heat stroke, there's no sweating. With heat exhaustion, you'll have cool, pale, clammy skin. With heat stroke, you'll have a body temperature of above 103 degrees. So that's red, hot, and dry skin. Again, no sweating. Now, nausea or vomiting, that's possible with both heat exhaustion and heat stroke. You'll have a rapid, weak pulse with heat exhaustion. You'll have a rapid, strong pulse with heat stroke. With heat exhaustion, there's muscle cramps. That's possible. With heat stroke, you may lose consciousness. If you see someone passing out, they are likely suffering from heat stroke, so you have to call 911 immediately and then take action to cool that person down. Move them into the shade, move them into the AC. Don't give them water. If they're passing out, that can get dangerous. However, if someone is suffering from heat exhaustion, it's okay to give them small sips of water and make sure that they also get to a cool place in the shade or preferably the AC, and they can start cooling down. Also, don't forget that we are here all the time bringing you updates on the forecast as these temperatures just continue to heat up and stay hot. The First Coast News weather team will be bringing you updates online, on the app, on streaming, and of course on our newscast. So make sure to continue to check back in with us as these temperatures continue to get hotter and hotter as we go through the summer months. I'm meteorologist Lee Southwick. First Coast News on your side. The dog days of summer are here. Can you see it? No, not the panting dog. Look up into the night sky, and then you can see the dog we're looking for. The dog days of summer are named for the dog star, Sirius. The dog star gets its nickname by being the brightest star in the constellation Canis Major, or greater dog in Latin. Sirius, the name of the dog star, means scorching in ancient Greek. Ancient civilizations noticed the star would rise and set with the sun around late July, which happened to coincide with the hottest and most humid part of the year. The star is so bright that some thought it radiated extra heat towards Earth. The dog days of summer are July 3rd to August 11th. Originally referred to as the days of the dog star, the name evolved into the current saying, the dog days of summer. I'm meteorologist Lee Southwick. First Coast News on your side. Yeah, you all just heard about how hot it is, and it will continue to be into the weekend. It is truly the dog days of summer. And if you want to go out on the boat and maybe cool off this weekend, Saturday is my pick day to get out onto the water. So Saturday is still scorching hot. Yes, we have those high temperatures close to 100 degrees, but it's a little bit of a drier day. Later on in the day, we will have those thunderstorms popping up once again, but on Sunday, I think the rain chances are higher. So my pick day to get out on the boat is Saturday. And you can bring your furry friends with you as well. So I'm joined by Lisa, the botanista. Lisa, the botanista. That is so fun. Where'd you come up with that name?
Actually, my ad agency came up with it. We had a bunch of events going on one day, and this was when Fashionista was big and popular. And she goes, "You're the botanista," and I went, "I am." And then I got it trademarked, and it's a trademark of Freedom Boat Club. So.
And you're the owner of Freedom Boat Club.
Yes.
How did you even come up with Freedom Boat Club?
I didn't. It's a franchise system. I was a born and raised Floridian, and my parents were competitive water skiers, and I always loved the water, and it was my second career after 25 years at Bell South, and it's just been an incredible blessing. I started managing for them, and then my business partner and I bought the business in 2011, and it's just grown like amazing.
And you have multiple locations here on the First Coast.
So we have 5 locations here on the First Coast that our members get unlimited. I want to say that again, Lee. No limit. You can go as much as you want. I have an evangelistic member. I think he went 80 times last year. And then we have 450 locations across the world. France, Italy, Australia. I had a member send me a video of him in front of the Opera House in Australia. Canada, I mean, it's amazing. All like lakes up in New York, and you get reciprocal use at all of those locations. So you can actually, I have members that they actually plan their vacation around where there's a Freedom Boat Club. Well, why wouldn't you? You have a boat.
Exactly. That
Yes.
makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Okay, and the best part, you can bring your
Yes.
best friend with you.
Yes, you can bring your best friend with you, and we actually have 10 tips for bringing your dog. You want to make sure they're got their life jacket on. Number 1, you see River has his life jacket. Make sure you have water. Make sure they're taking breaks. So, but we love it when the dogs come, and they love boating.
So that's important to mention too, because the dogs also have to try to stay cool, just as us humans do when we're out on the boat, but you catch the breeze when you're out there. It's a nice way to cool down.
Yes, absolutely. You jump in the water and cool off, get your hair wet, and then we say, boat hair don't care. And you just cool off, and you've always got a breeze when you're going with the boat. And then a lot of our members go to the sandbars where they're swimming, and like literally there's a an ocean breeze a lot of times, so you get to cool off. But it's just so wonderful because my members get to enjoy all of the, fun of boating without the responsibility of owning and having to clean and trailer and do all those things.
That's fantastic. All right, guys, so grab your water, grab your swimsuits, grab your best furry friend, and head out to the boats this weekend. Again, Saturday, my pick day over Sunday for boating. But no matter what, as long as you get out there early enough, it's always a fun time on the water.
But I would also like to I want you to get your weather superpower so we can control the days and see when the good days are and aren't. But
so
thankful for
Robert Spetta behind the camera, too. He's a meteorologist, so we'll have him work on it for us, too, right? All right, back to you guys.
The hurricane hunters are a vital tool when it comes to tropical weather forecasting. They fly into the heart of hurricanes, so we can get that initialization data to ingest in the weather models and help make that forecast that much more accurate. But who flying these planes into the middle of the hurricanes? I had the opportunity to talk to one of the hunters, that is Colonel Ryan Rickard, about why they do what they do.
So I mean, we all know that it started very early in the middle of World War II. There's no replacement for it really. There's nothing that can provide the data that the aircraft can provide. There's no observations over the ocean that you know.
They fly into the heart of hurricanes, so we can get that initialization data to ingest in the weather models and help make that forecast that much more accurate. But who is flying these planes into the middle of the hurricanes? Well, I had the opportunity to talk to one of the hurricane hunters, that is Colonel Ryan Rickard, about why they do what they do.
So I mean, we all know that it started very early in the middle of World War II. There's no replacement for it really. There's nothing that can provide the data that the aircraft can provide. There's no observations over the ocean that, with aircraft flying through it, the aircraft is equipped with weather information and sensors that is collecting that, and then we're disseminating it. So it's truly vital for the Hurricane Center and for the meteorologists and the forecasters in the West Coast as we've expanded our winter season mission too, where we're collecting atmospheric data over data sparse areas.
All right, so let's say you're going to go fly into a hurricane. Could you take me through a day in the life of a Air Force hurricane hunter that is going to be going out and going into a storm?
So really it starts the day prior. The day prior, the Hurricane Center asks the aircraft units if they can support whatever they're asking, requirements for flights for whatever storms are out there that we can reach from whatever base we're at. And then that basically sets the stage for the crews getting built, people volunteering for set a flight at whatever time. And then they go into a crew rest. They have to have a 12-hour period prior to their flight where they're resting and being ready and basically getting the sleep that they need in order to conduct that mission the next day. And then basically roughly 3 hours prior, you'll get alerted to come in.
The hurricane hunters are a vital tool when it comes to tropical weather forecasting. They fly into the heart of hurricanes, so we can get that initialization data to ingest in the weather models and help make that forecast that much more accurate. But who is flying these planes into the middle of the hurricanes? Well, I had the opportunity to talk to one of the hurricane hunters, that is Colonel Ryan Rickard, about why they do what they do.
So I mean, we all know that it started very early in the middle of World War II. There's no replacement for it really. There's nothing that can provide the data that the aircraft can provide. There's no observations over the ocean that, with aircraft flying through it, the aircraft is equipped with weather information and sensors that is collecting that, and then we're disseminating it. So it's truly vital for the Hurricane Center and for the meteorologists and the forecasters in the West Coast as we've expanded our winter season mission too, where we're collecting atmospheric data over data sparse areas.
All right, so let's say you're going to go fly into a hurricane. Could you take me through a day in the life of a Air Force hurricane hunter that is going to be going out and going into a storm?
So really it starts the day prior. The day prior, the Hurricane Center asks the aircraft units what if they can support whatever they're asking, requirements for flights for whatever storms are out there that we can reach from whatever base we're at. And then that basically sets the stage for the crews getting built, people volunteering for a flight at whatever time. And then they go into a crew rest. They have to have a 12-hour period prior to their flight where they're resting and being ready and basically getting the sleep that they need in order to conduct that mission the next day. And then basically roughly 3 hours prior, you'll get alerted to come in to the unit and go prepare and go out on that flight. And in about 2 hours, everyone arrives 2 hours prior to the flight. And then you start collecting the information. You start providing the crew what we're going to do, where we're going, etc. And then about that takeoff time, that's when everybody's on the aircraft, you're taking off and you're heading towards the location where you're going to hunt that storm or basically collect all the data for that storm. And the missions can run anywhere from 6 to 12 hours. It just depends on how far it is to get to that. And then basically what the Hurricane Center has asked us to do, if there's certain different things, objectives they have us basically finding out.
The planes that the hurricane hunters use are unique. They have a lot of special equipment on board, but what's interesting is that they are not much different from normal military aircraft.
Yeah, so the misconception is that C-130, the C-130s that we have 10 of them, are built differently and like reinforced or armored or do whatever. They're not. They're actually not. They don't have extra steel plates or anything extra on that aircraft to make it more safe. They do have weather instrumentation on it, which that's where the WC-130 comes from. That W means weather, so it's weather configured. We have instrumentation. We have the crew on board to collect that information and provide it to our customers. The one thing I will say that it does, it has the nose radar on there, just like other C-130s, but we have a software that enhances it, that allows us to determine, I would say, it allows us to determine whether or not there are tornadic signatures. It helps with the reflectivity of it and gives us more fidelity of what's actually happening in front of the aircraft.
So who is flying into these hurricanes? It's a lot more than just the one pilot.
Yeah, so we have two pilots, the aircraft commander and then a co-pilot. They're obviously flying the aircraft. We also have navigators on our airplanes. There used to be a lot of navigators across the Air Force and C-130s and other aircraft. They've really basically cut back on that, but the navigator provides a crucial role in ours where they're looking at that radar to help assist us and tell us what might or might not be good things to fly through, et cetera. And then we have the flight meteorologist and then the load master, the drop zone operator in the back. They're the ones that are collecting all the data. The meteorologist is telling the load master where to drop those signs because they're not technically weather experts or have weather backgrounds. They're basically just following orders on what we want to do. And then we are basically, the meteorologists are conducting the entire mission and meeting the objectives of the customers, telling them where we need to go next or what we need to do next, and then we're ensuring that weather information that's getting sent off the airplane is, as accurate as it possibly can be.
Now, I guess my next question is about in-flight. So how many, if you know this number offhand, I bet you do, how many storms have you penetrated? And what is the one that you were like, oh, okay, all right, hold on. And maybe like you lost a little kind of color in your face or anything like that.
I actually do not know the exact number, but I know relatively. I've been through hurricanes roughly 150 to 175 times, somewhere in that range. Last year I went through, I think, 31 times a hurricane penetration. So I'm getting up there. I've been there for 10 years, so I have quite a decent amount of experience in doing it. And then I would say there's been a handful of wow or oh my, moments, but the one that I've been kind of harping on while I've been here is the Hurricane Irma experience. Kind of flew it 3 or 4 times in its beginning stages, all the way up to a Cat 5. And when it deepened and it hit its peak intensity, that was one of the ones that I was just like, oh my gosh. It was really rough, and it was near land, so we got rocked pretty good.
So what advice from a hurricane hunter would you have for the general public?
A lot of the times the general public doesn't really understand, what impacts they're going to experience at their house or in their area that they live. So, the best way to understand that is to listen to their local emergency managers and the communicators and the leaders of their community to tell them, hey, if they're telling you to leave, you really need to leave. It's a freebie. Leave. Why would you stay? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me to ride a storm out when you really don't know what's going to happen.
So I want to say a big thank you to Colonel Rickard for talking with me about how the hurricane hunters operate. If you want more information, be sure to stop by firstcoastnews.com/Hurricane Central. I'm meteorologist Robert Speta.